Right now at 5, city officials from Pittsburgh help tackle the homelessness problem in the city.
And we've got a fairly chilly start across the area this morning ahead of a not so bad day. We'll get that forecast to get you out the door coming up.
Plus, the Cherokee County Economic Development Corporation and Kansas Works band together to help those recently who lost their jobs.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning, 4 states, and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. The time now is 5 a.m. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
I'm Chris Warner. So it's not a bad start out there. I actually turned the heat on just a little in the car.
I actually did too.
Didn't have to have it full blast or anything. Didn't crank it to 80, but just a little, just enough to make it not so chilly. And I got here, and we're in that transition period in fall here, and I think you folks at home know what I'm talking about, where you're running the AC during the day because the sun's beating down on your house and it's hot, but then here it's set automatically, so we come in and the AC is still running, but it gets cold overnight. So it was like 5 degrees in the studio this morning. It's warmed up a little bit now, but man, it was chilly. 20th and Rangeline MoDOT camera looking pretty good. Kids getting on the bus this morning, they're going to need at least a light jacket if they're anything like me and don't like anything below 70 degrees. Otherwise, they may be okay with this. Maybe just a long sleeve shirt. We're talking mid-50s, mostly clear skies, and a light easterly breeze at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. However, as we go through today, cloud cover increasing as we head into the afternoon. So that's the one caveat to today's great day, is we're going to start to see a few more clouds later. But otherwise, temperatures mid-70s, east breeze 5 to 10, just mostly cloudy skies to contend with. Not too bad at all. As we get our morning started, again, we're going to start out with the mostly clear skies like we've got now. We'll start transitioning to partly cloudy skies through the morning, and then we'll start transitioning to mostly cloudy skies by this afternoon. We're going to make it up to about 70 by late morning, so not bad. We are keeping an eye on the fog tracker. I ran into just a little low-lying patchy fog out there, nothing too dense, but we'll keep an eye on it in case we see anything like what we did yesterday morning, and of course we'll let you know if that does happen. Otherwise, again, a fairly decent start to our Wednesday. We'll tell you how the rest of the week is shaping up and about our next rain chances here in just a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Say they're working to recover more items than BTK killer Dennis Rader said that he hid in multiple locations. Dennis Rader took personal effects, including jewelry and clothing, from his victims as trophies. The Osage County Sheriff says that Rader gave him locations Monday of some low items. The announcement comes less than a month after investigators discovered items in a hiding hole at the property of Rader's former family home. The items included trophies from at least one woman, and Rader pleaded guilty in 2005 to 10 murders from the 70s through the 90s in the Wichita, Kansas area. He's serving 10 consecutive life sentences in a Kansas state prison. City officials listened to a plan to address homelessness in the Pittsburgh area. The Pittsburgh Community Health Center, in collaboration with other organizations, brought forward a plan on how to first understand homelessness in the area and then address it. According to CHC Representative Becky Gray, as of 2022, approximately 112 homeless reside in Pittsburgh. Gray says as the number continues to rise, so does the need to create and execute the plan to provide housing, shelters, and resources for those who live on the street. She also says the current system of getting homeless into a house is predominantly tenant-based housing vouchers. However, for those who are homeless and seeking these vouchers, one issue is a federal law that they are required to be sent out by mail. Gray also pointed out the need for an overnight shelter within Pittsburgh. By not having a shelter, those who live on the street continue to remain there and are less likely to get the help they need. There must also be a system to help those who have been homeless to get back into the routine of engaging and involved within the community. Gray then laid out the plan for what they want to see happen to improve the issue, starting with the operation of an overnight shelter, which has already had funds raised but now needs to find a location. The overall goal is to make homelessness, quote, rare and brief. The solution noted that would have significant positive effects would be the construction of just 20 to 30 housing units and having continuous review and evaluation to prevent a relapse cycle. Overall, this meeting highlighted the need to provide the services and housing solutions that would greatly alleviate the issue of people on the street. You can view the entire meeting through a link posted on our website. Members of the public came out yesterday for a bridge renaming ceremony honoring a fallen Joplin police officer. The ceremony took place on the newly named Officer Jake Reed Memorial Bridge, located at 1200 East 20th Street. During the ceremony, Officer Reed's family received the Joplin Police Department Medal of Honor. Officer Reed was killed in the line of duty in March of last year. As Baxter Springs, Kansas deals with 2 plant closings, the community is trying to connect job seekers with potential employers. The Cherokee County Economic Development Corporation organized a job fair in Baxter Springs. The job fair was open to the community, but the first hour of the fair was dedicated to job seekers that have been recently laid off due to Yellow Freight and King Louis closings. The organizers wanted to showcase the job opportunities in Baxter and surrounding areas.
We actually invited employers from Missouri and Oklahoma, since we're so close to the border, to join us at the job fair today. So we're hoping that those that live in Oklahoma, maybe they can find something a little bit closer to their home. Although we would like to keep them in Kansas, we still invited some employers from out of state.
The fair ran from 1 to 4 p.m. yesterday at First Christian Church. School sports are back to an old issue, a shortage of referees. In the region, every week, about 6 high school football games are being played on Thursdays or Saturdays for that reason. And the Joplin High School football team, for example, had to move their first home game of the season to a Thursday because there were not enough officials for the Friday night game. But football is not alone. Other high school sports are also being impacted.
Particularly in the outdoor sports and in spring, there's a lot of schedule changes due to the weather. And so you might have 12 games one night and only have enough officials to cover 9 of those games.
A big reason is also fans, that they're very tough on officials, and we need all of our fans to remember that this is education-based athletics. They're there to support our team and our students.
According to the Joplin Umpire Association, this has been a trend in the last 5 years. They are encouraging people who might be interested in being a referee or umpire to contact them. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, the Pitt State volleyball team proves that fall sports aren't just all about football. We'll have more details with Chris in sports. Plus, we'll take you to a mental health clinic that's seeing changes being made in a time that the need for mental health care has surged. And it's the middle of the week, which means we're getting closer to Friday. We'll see how the rest of the week shapes up forecast-wise with Chris in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
Well, we're in the thick of fall sports season. That means a lot more than just football. Pitt State volleyball began its season just over a week ago, hosted a tournament this past weekend, and yesterday evening, the Gorillas opened their conference slate. Taking on MIAA foe Newman, Gorillas jump out to an early lead in the first set. Seville Gates spikes this one, gave PSU a 22-10 lead. Couple serves later, set point. Jerika Jackson gets the kill. Gorillas take the first set. The Jets showed some signs of life in the second set, though. Natalie Meyer with the block. Newman would lead 11-6. Gorillas win 7 straight points, though, including this kill from Janae Thurston. So they take the second set as well. More of the same in the third. Ivy Fink and Thurston keep the point alive. Long rally, then Fink sets up Thurston for the big-time spike. And the Gorillas win their MIAA opener in straight sets over Newman. Well, Carthage and Webb City softball matched up yesterday, coming in on opposite ends of the spectrum. The Tigers have lost 4 of their last 5, and the Cardinals are winners in 5 of their last 6, entering yesterday afternoon. Conference rivals meeting for the first time this season, starting out in the top of the first. Ashland Brust rips one down the line into left field, reaches with a single. Go to the next batter, Brooklyn Dolan Maine hammers a pitch to left center. That'll drop down. Brust comes in to score. Later in the inning, it's 1-0 Tigers, same score. Second inning, Addison Brown sends one into left field. She gets stranded at first, though. Still 1-0 in the third. Addison Wallace gets one of her 6 strikeouts on the day. She'd go 7 innings, just allowing 2 hits. Carthage started to blow this one open in the 4th. Bases loaded. J.C. Bayless grounds one up the middle. Everybody's safe. Bases still loaded with Brust at the plate. Hot shot up the middle. Everyone moves up 1 base again. Tigers score 8 runs in the 4th inning. They went on the road 9-1. Elsewhere in the conference, Neosho also wins big on the road yesterday. Kennard sisters lead the way for a Wildcat victory. Carly Kennard throws 4 scoreless innings of 1-run ball, and her sister Autumn has 5 hits, including a 3-run homer. Winning on the road would be a theme yesterday. Seneca, 1 day removed from getting its first win of the season at CJ, takes down Mack County 9-6. Abby Jamros gets the win pitching and picks up 3 RBIs off a triple and double at the plate. Still to come, the remains of an American soldier from World War II are found off the coast of Malta. Plus, we'll take another look at that forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 5/16, Wednesday. We are halfway through the work week and that much closer to the weekend. All reasons to celebrate, and we've got some great weather to celebrate the middle of the week as well, as long as you don't mind a few clouds later today, and I certainly don't. I don't know about anybody else, but I do not. Right now, though, looking great. MoDOT camera 20th and range line looking off to the south. We've got mostly clear skies out there, and same from the MoDOT camera, US 60, Missouri 59 on the south end of Neosho. This one looking west toward Lusk Drive. Great start to the day out there. And taking a look at the KDOT camera, US 69 and East 520th Avenue, just south of Pittsburgh, also looking pretty good. And all these cameras, man, I know we go through them in the morning. We do like to show them, give you a nice view of what's actually happening, but wait until the winter time. They're really going to prove their worth when we're able to give you a heads up on snow cover, ice, things like that, dangerous conditions. That's when these cameras are really going to pay for themselves. Okay, they didn't cost us anything, but that's not the point. They're going to become much more useful this winter. 54 in Joplin. It is downright chilly. A little bit on the dry side on the dew point at 51, but humidity's up there at 90%, so that's why we're going to keep an eye out for that fog across the area. Temperatures around the region, again, it is a chilly start. Look at Fort Scott sitting at 49 degrees. We've got 50 in Iola, 51 Pittsburgh, Parsons, Chatopa, 55 Miami, and a little more spring-like as you head further south, 56 Neosho, 57 Grove, Anderson, 58 Cassville, and we're even up to 59 in Bentonville right now. As we get our morning started, we've got the clear skies to begin, then we're going to start to see the clouds increase as we go through the morning. We go partly cloudy, near 70 or at 70 by late morning. Then we head into the afternoon, and the clouds are expected to really begin to increase. We're going to start to go mostly cloudy heading into the afternoon, but our temperatures not bad. They're mild, they're warm, they're perfect, they're pleasant. If only it could be like that year round. Believe me, if it could be, we'd make it so, but we can't. 77 for our high, so a little warmer, upper 70s out there. Then we head into this evening, a little milder this evening, but as we head into the overnight, another chilly night. We hang on to mostly cloudy skies through the evening into the overnight, and we'll eventually make it back down into the mid to upper 50s across the area. And then we have some additional rain chances in our forecast, something that we absolutely need. Let's take a look down the road. We do start to warm up. We get a little closer to average as we head into the weekend, getting into the low 80s, mid 80s. And then as we head into the next work week, we may start warming up above average. We start looking at upper 80s as a possibility. Some pop-up showers possible with us on Friday. You know what I'm pointing at. Friday, Saturday, and as we head into next week, again, temperatures above average for a bit, but that does or should help set the stage for some thunderstorm development as we head midweek next week. So hopefully that does come to pass. Obviously, we're still a long ways away from next week, and you all know how much things can change, but we are looking at the possibility of a few pop-up thunderstorms as we head toward the middle and end of the next work week. So between now and then, though, pretty darn pleasant out there. A few shower chances, not bad at all. That is a quick check of your forecast. We are going to be back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, as the need for mental health care has surged, a specialized walk-in clinic in Maryland is serving as a model for other communities nationwide. It operates like an urgent care, but for all mental health needs for all ages. Natalie Brand shows us how the model is helping thousands of patients find care exactly when they need it.
where someone can just walk in.
Pam Yerby-Hammock describes her struggle with mental health as sudden and traumatic.
I spent all of this time in a place of fear and panic, confusion, darkness.
She didn't know where to turn until her daughter learned of this psychiatric urgent care in Baltimore County, Maryland, a walk-in clinic with no appointment necessary.
I needed help then and there.
What we're seeing is a tremendous rise in need for mental health services, people wanting to access care, but really getting stuck at the point where they don't know how to access care.
Dr. Hirsch Trivedi says Shepherd Pratt's urgent care for mental health opened in 2011 in response to long ER wait times. He says this year the clinic is on track to have an estimated 10,000 evaluations, a substantial rise from last year.
What we find is that the best time to intervene or the best time to help people is specifically when they're in crisis, when they want that help.
The clinic accepts insurance and is open to all ages and all needs, from a hospital stay to a therapist referral.
Do you think this is a model of care that should expand and be available to more people?
Oh, absolutely.
Yerby-Hammock says she was diagnosed with depression and anxiety and connected with resources that have changed her life.
Those things that I lost, they came back.
That includes her passion for preaching. She's even founded a mental health ministry to encourage others to get care as soon as they need it. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Baltimore County, Maryland.
Shepherd Pratt is now working with other healthcare providers to help them open walk-in mental health clinics in different communities nationwide to help increase access. An effective remedy for indigestion may already be in your spice rack. Researchers looked at treatment options for more than 150 people with symptoms of indigestion, such as stomach pain, bloating, nausea, or an early feeling of fullness. They analyzed how participants responded to either the drug omeprazole and the spice turmeric, or a combination of the two. Omeprazole, better known to consumers by the brand name Prilosec, is a common medication used to reduce acid in the stomach. Turmeric, which contains the compound curcumin, has been used in Southeast Asia for hundreds of years to treat stomach discomfort and other inflammatory conditions. A Food and Drug Administration committee has confirmed what you already know: fake Sudafed doesn't work at all. Back in 2006, cold medications containing pseudoephedrine were moved behind pharmacy counters because the drug could be processed into methamphetamine. But it also isn't effective as long-used decongestant. Forced to find a substitute, drug companies started marketing medications containing phenylephrine instead. Now, 17 years later, an independent advisory committee told the FDA that drug is ineffective as a decongestant. The vote among the committee's 16 members was unanimous. It means drug companies sell about $1.8 billion worth of cold remedies each year that are known to be ineffective. And the CDC is recommending everyone 6 months and older get an updated COVID-19 vaccine. The agency says the updated shots from Pfizer and Moderna will be available later this week. Jared Hill has the latest.
CDC Director Mandy Cohen addressed the agency's advisory panel before it weighed new data on the updated COVID-19 vaccines, which target the Omicron variant XBB.1.5.
We're in our strongest position yet to fight COVID-19, as well as flu and RSV this winter season.
On Monday, the FDA approved the updated mRNA vaccines from Pfizer and Moderna. Novavax's protein-based vaccine is currently being reviewed.
There is an urgent need for alternatives to mRNA-based vaccines, including protein-based vaccines. And so in that regard, we will review such a submission expeditiously.
While cases and hospitalizations are up, concern about the virus is down. In a new CBS News poll, just 45% of people say they are worried that they or a family member could get COVID. That's down from 77% in April of 2020. Only 43% plan to get the new booster, and those numbers vary by political affiliation. Many health experts are pushing to have the COVID vaccine considered just like every other shot and recommended every fall like the flu vaccine. Dr. William Schaffner with Vanderbilt University Medical Center says you can get the flu and COVID vaccines in one visit.
If that opportunity presents itself and you're up for it, sure, get them together. But if you get them one at a time, please make sure you come back for each of those vaccines.
Because it's the best protection for what could be a very active winter. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
The updated COVID shots will be free for most people through private insurance. The shots will be available for people without insurance through the Bridge Access Program for COVID-19 vaccines launching this fall. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got ourselves a bit of a chilly start out there this morning. We will eventually warm up, and unfortunately, we're going to also see some increasing clouds across the area. We'll take a full look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Right now at 5:30, Pittsburgh Community Schools gave the public a look inside the newly renovated middle school.
And we've got a pretty chilly start across the area this morning. Otherwise, a nice Wednesday shaping up for us. We'll take a look at your forecast and get you out the door coming up.
Plus, the city of Pittsburgh goes to the goats as they hire 3 dozen goats to help clean up around the city.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning, 4 states, and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. The time now is 5:30 a.m. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
I'm Chris Warner. So does that mean that we could potentially hire goats to read the news?
You know what? Pretty close. Pretty close. I think they could do a good job.
I think they might. They might do a pretty decent job. That's what our next goal should be. We'll get some goats in here and see if they can do the news and weather for us, because I would not mind taking a day off and leaving it to the goats. I don't know if you folks at home would like the goats as much, but they could be adorable. You never know. Well, let's take a look at what else is adorable. No, it's not me. It's our forecast. We've got a pretty decent day out there. Chilly start. MoDOT camera 20th and range line. Of course, the cameras do not show us the chilliness, but they do show us that we've got a pretty decent morning out there. We will show you the chilliness with this. Yeah, mid-50s when the kids get on the bus this morning, right around 7 a.m. East breeze 5 to 10. Mostly clear skies initially. And then as we head into the afternoon, those clouds will increase in coverage across the area. We're going to go mostly cloudy, but they do not stop us from getting a little bit warmer. So we go mid, maybe even some upper 70s out there. We hold on to that light easterly breeze at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Then we go through our morning. So let's get you out the door here. Again, mostly clear to start. And we'll start to see partly cloudy skies as those clouds begin to increase from west to east across the area. We'll be right around 70 as we get into the late morning hours. Again, we've got a really decent day ahead of us. We've got a pretty decent week. We are going to start to warm up, and we do have some additional shower chances out there, and we'll talk about all that in your full forecast here in a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. Pittsburgh Community Schools gave the public an inside look at the newly renovated middle school. The renovations are centered around the original portion of the building, constructed in 1921. The district added a modern science lab, a DNA-compliant elevator, and renovated the school's auditorium.
Well, there's a little back room in there. I would do that for wrestling. That would be a good place for wrestling.
The renovations were funded through a voter-approved bond. You've heard the expression, going to the dogs. Well, it looks like parts of Pittsburgh are going to the goats. The city of Pittsburgh hired about 3 dozen goats to help clear away brush from the city's parks this week. The 4-legged lawnmowers come from Oscar Mike Goat Rental, a veteran-owned and operated vegetation management company. For park staff, the addition seemed like a logical solution.
I think Robert has estimated this area behind us would take a day and a half to 2 days, and then we've got several more areas that we'll move them to once they get this complete to our satisfaction. I think they reduce it down to about a 50 to 70% removal of the vegetation.
The goats were brought in to take down invasive weeds and hazardous vegetation while reducing the city's chemical footprint. Some Joplin service organizations teamed up yesterday to give blood. The Colonel Travis Hoover Composite Squadron co-sponsored the blood drive with the American Red Cross and the Joplin Veterans of Foreign Wars. The event took place at the BFW Bingo Hall in Joplin yesterday afternoon.
I feel like it's the best way to help my community and to let older people know that there are younger people who are willing to help in stuff like this and to help build our communities.
The Air Patrol provides humanitarian assistance in addition to its emergency services mission. A Parsons, Kansas organization hosted a barbecue to help fund some future adventures. The Dream Advocacy Group provides resources and experiences for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Some of those experiences come in the form of group trips. Yesterday's event raised money for those trips.
I think that it's important for people to understand that they are just like us and that they have rights just like we do. And I think that learning and interacting with them helps people be more comfortable with them.
People at the event could get a barbecue lunch for $5 and participate in a beanbag toss. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. We'll introduce you to a story about a dog who becomes not only a member of the family, but a very important part of a nursing home's team. Plus, a Van Gogh painting stolen 3 years ago is finally recovered. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from Riverview Park in Miami. Topping World Watch, officials estimate the number of dead in Libya is more than 5,000 after the country was rocked by devastating floodwaters. But with roughly 10,000 people still missing, the death toll is only expected to keep rising. Ten Linder takes a closer look at the damage and why recovering efforts are moving so slowly.
The devastation across the eastern Libyan city of Derna is immense. As of Tuesday night, search teams recovered more than 1,500 bodies and counting from the debris. This after floodwaters from Mediterranean storm Daniel broke through dams and rushed through communities over the weekend.
The dam was full and had not been emptied, so it was subjected to pressure and exploded. This large overhead dam was the reason why the torrent descended on us with such force.
Officials estimate the tragedy has resulted in thousands of deaths. But with roughly 10,000 people still feared missing, a final tally could be far away. The powerful floodwaters tore apart many buildings with poor infrastructure, buried cars in thick mud, and carried people through the streets and out to sea.
Perhaps 90% of our people drowned. My aunt's entire house was lost. My other aunt's entire house was lost. My cousin's entire house was lost. It's a genocide.
But with the sheer amount of destruction, relief has been slow to reach victims.
Part of the roads accessing Derna have been destroyed, so the city is isolated, and efforts to reach the city via sea haven't materialized yet. Of course, there's a bigger problem of the political impediments to aid, apart from the geographical impediments because of the storm and the infrastructure.
Government officials say food and medicine are available in Libya for survivors, but say they're in desperate need of first responders trained in handling the aftermath of natural disasters. Maritime archaeologists recovered the remains of an American World War II airman off the coast of Malta. U.S. Army Forces Sergeant Irving R. Newman died in 1943 at the age of 22. His B-24D Liberator aircraft was part of a bombing mission over Italy. His plane encountered engine trouble and he tried to get back to Malta but crashed into the waters off the coast. A team of archaeologists from the University of Malta worked alongside the Defense Paumia Accounting Agency. They analyzed the wreck of the bomber and eventually recovered the remains of Sergeant Newman. A stolen Vincent van Gogh painting was recently recovered and will soon be back on display 3.5 years after thieves swiped it out overnight in a Dutch museum during worldwide COVID lockdowns. The painting, The Parsonage Garden at Noonan in Spring, appears to be in pretty good condition with little damage. The Groninger Museum received an insurance payout for the piece and now intends to buy it back from the insurance company, who's now its formal owner. Officials are providing few details on how it was found, but are giving credit to a Dutch art detective for helping to solve the case. The piece will be scientifically examined in coming months. Growing concern in the U.S. as North Korean leader Kim Jong-un travels to Russia for a possible meeting with President Vladimir Putin. Talks between the two leaders could involve a possible arms deal. Molly Line has the story.
Russia rolls out the red carpet to welcome North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Kim arriving at the border town of Hassan in his personal armored train Tuesday. Several Russian officials on hand to personally greet Kim ahead of an expected meeting with President Vladimir Putin, a meeting the U.S. and the world is closely watching.
Our understanding is that this will focus on arms negotiations.
According to intelligence officials, Putin may be asking Kim for ammunition to help with the ongoing war in Ukraine. In return, Kim is expected to ask Moscow for economic aid and military tech. Any deal, however, would violate multiple UN Security Council resolutions and likely lead to further sanctions against North Korea.
We will monitor what happens and will not hesitate to take action to hold those accountable if necessary.
Well, a sit-down meeting is expected. Where it will take place is still uncertain. Putin hasn't confirmed the meeting is even happening. Intelligence officials believed the two would be meeting in a Russian city close to the border, where Putin is visiting for an economic forum. But state media reported Kim's train was heading away from that city. And when asked about his next destination, to visit a Russian spaceport in the Far East, Putin had this to say.
I have my own agenda there. When I get there, you will know.
This is Kim's first visit abroad in more than 4 years and his first since the pandemic. The Biden White House is now facing fierce criticism from Republicans after agreeing to a prisoner swap with Iran that will also give the Middle East country access to billions of dollars in frozen funds. Rebecca Castor has reaction from Washington.
The Biden administration playing defense Tuesday, defending the terms of its prisoner exchange with Iran.
We're getting 5 Americans home, and I think that's the important thing that everybody needs to remember.
As part of the deal, the U.S. will release 5 Iranian citizens in exchange for 5 American detainees, and will also unfreeze $6 billion in Iranian funds.
There are always tough choices involved in bringing home American citizens.
Former President Donald Trump says the deal sets a, quote, terrible precedent. And GOP lawmakers believe it puts the nation in a vulnerable position.
The only thing this deal is going to do is going to fuel Iran's campaign of terror against America and America's interests and allies around the world, and ensure that we have even more hostages taken in the future.
Now concerns are mounting over how Iran will use the billions in unfrozen money. The White House says it can only be used for humanitarian reasons like food and medicine.
We will have the ability to stop transactions if we don't think they're going in the right direction.
But that contradicts what the president of Iran is saying on U.S. airwaves.
This money belongs to the Islamic Republic of Iran, and naturally we will decide, the Islamic Republic of Iran will decide to spend it wherever we need it.
The 5 American detainees were placed under house arrest a month ago. At least one of them has been imprisoned in Iran for 8 years. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 546, almost 547 now on this Wednesday morning. Mentioned earlier, halfway through the work week, looking great so far, and we're looking pretty decent right now. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line in Joplin, looks good. Same from the MoDOT camera, US 60, Missouri 59 down in Neosho, and the KDOT camera, US 69 East 520th Avenue, just south of Pittsburgh. The only thing they can't show you is the fact that it is chilly, but thankfully we have technology to bring you the temperatures as they happen. And we are at 54 in Joplin right now, so a chilly start out there, but for now, we've got those clear skies across the area as well. And take a look, Fort Scott now warming up a bit. They were at 49 earlier as one of the cold spots, up to 50, along with Iola and Stockton as well as Pittsburgh. 54 in Chanute, 51s in Neodesha, Yates Center, Parsons, Chautauqua, 54 Miami, Carthage, Monette, and 55 down in Neosho. As we head through the morning, we're going to see increasing cloud cover is the expectation. So we're going to start with those mostly clear skies and start going partly cloudy through the morning, about 70 by 11. And as we head into the afternoon, more cloud cover begins to move in as we go mostly cloudy heading into the afternoon. But our temperatures doing pretty decent as we get into the mid, even upper 70s across the area. Still below average, at least for now. It's below average, and then that's going to change as well. As we head into this evening, still mostly cloudy skies, a cool evening out there, so not bad, but another chilly overnight, mid to upper 50s for our overnight lows. However, as I mentioned, our temperatures are really going to start to warm up over the next few days. We start heading into the end of this week. Now, we're going to still be below average until about Sunday. We're going to stay low 80s and be mid 80s by Sunday. Some pop-up showers possible Friday and Saturday. And then as we head into Monday and Tuesday, Yeah, we start to go above average, potentially well above average as we head toward the middle of next week. We go upper 80s, maybe even lower 90s out there. But what we're hoping is, even though it's warming up, it'll help set the stage for some pop-up thunderstorm chances for us Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week, because we do need additional rain out there, and these shower chances just aren't going to cut it. We need some thunderstorms, a little extra rain, and then we'll start dropping back down into the mid-80s by the end of next week. And it also means, though, our chilly overnights won't last for long. We'll start going in the low mid 60s, upper 60s to right around 70 as we head toward the end of next week as well. So the good news is, so far, we were talking about the potential for some dense fog this morning. Fog tracker showing some light fog in some areas, but nothing too crazy at this point. But of course, if that changes, we will certainly keep you updated. That is a quick check of your forecast. Pretty calm for a little while with just some shower chances out there. We'll be right back after this, but first we're going to take another first live look from Riverview Park in Miami.
Here's a feel-good story about finding your family. A dog named Scout turned his days as a stray into a permanent, loving home. Back in 2017, Scout kept breaking out of an animal shelter, and each time, for some reason, he made his way to a nearby long-term care facility. Now, he's not just a member of the family. Scout's a very important part of the actual team. Jared Hill shows us.
Scout has become a bit of a canine caretaker.
He goes onto these floors, and as soon as people see him, they want to pet him.
He's made this nursing home in Michigan his home after escaping from a nearby animal shelter, not once, but 3 times, landing back on this same couch each time.
We still don't know what that reason was to this day, but there had to be a reason because he showed up 3 times in the same week.
And that's when the staff in Meadowbrook decided he should just stay.
Scout!
Over the years, he's become a part of the family, filling lives with a little love, becoming a bright spot for anyone who's having a rough day.
If you're laying there and things are not going right, he'll get up on the bed and lay down. When you get up, well, then he'll get up and like he's done his work and he goes on.
To have somebody to talk to that will just sit there and listen and likes to be petted, it brings joy to both the staff and the residents.
Scout's heartwarming tale has people around the world sending in donations, and his celebrity status online is now helping the shelter he ran from all those years ago. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Scout is also participating in an upcoming walk to help end Alzheimer's. We'll be right back. A colossal planet about 120 light years from Earth may have water flowing on it. That's what new evidence uncovered by the James Webb Space Telescope possibly shows. The investigation with the Space Observatory revealed that the exoplanet K2-18b may have some key features of a planet that could support bodies of water and life. An analysis of Webb's observations found the planet has abundant methane and carbon dioxide in its atmosphere. NASA says there's also the presence of these carbon-bearing molecules along with the scarcity of ammonia, which could indicate an atmosphere rich with hydrogen that surrounds an ocean world. Carbon is considered the building block of life forms on Earth. Believe it or not, this groovy piece of real estate sold for below asking price. The home famous for its exterior featured on the Brady Bunch recently sold for $3.2 million, nearly 42% below asking. That's not even how much HGTV paid for the property in 2018 before investing thousands in for a complete remodel. According to the Zillow listing, the home was meticulously rebuilt and designed to replicate the set of the 1970s sitcom. It even features Greg's remodeled attic space. The listings say it's believed to be the second most photographed home in the U.S. behind the White House.
Absolutely fascinating about the Brady Bunch house. And of course, they rebuilt it to match the sets inside, but the original sets did not match the original house. the more you know. And the more you know about our forecast, probably the better, so let's get right to it. We are looking at mostly clear skies to start and chilly, but then clouds will begin to increase through the morning. We'll start to go partly cloudy and right around 70 by late morning. Then we head into the afternoon. We really just transition to straight up mostly cloudy skies at this point. Otherwise, temperature is not bad. We're going to go mid-upper 70s across the area. So again, great day if you don't mind a few clouds. And hey, I mean, you know, we don't always need the sun directly in our eyes, especially when we're driving. And we're going to hold on to those mostly cloudy skies as we head through the evening hours and be a little bit on the cool side out there as well as we eventually make it back down to 57, so mid-upper 50s, depending on where you are in the 4 states. However, temperatures begin to climb. We're up to average by Sunday, so low 80s, 85. Some pop-up showers Friday and Saturday. Then we head into next week, and we go above average. We start warming upper 80s, maybe even lower 90s, but this warm-up, we're hoping, we're still a ways out, will be a catalyst for some pop-up thunderstorms Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week. And then once we get through those pop-up storm chances, temperatures start to fall back to average. Let's check your forecast. We have a whole nother hour of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Right now at 6, Pittsburgh city leaders bring the issue of homelessness before the city commission.
And we've got a chilly start out there for us on our Wednesday. We've got a pretty decent day ahead of us. We'll get you out the door with that forecast coming up.
Plus, Joplin renames a bridge to honor a police officer killed in the line of duty.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning, 4 states, and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. The time now is 6 a.m. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
I'm Chris Warner. So again, a little bit of a chilly start. We were talking earlier, had to turn the heat on. We didn't have to crank it full blast or anything like
Just
that.
One of those crisp little fall mornings,
Exactly. Just enough to say, let's kick this up to like 73, 74 instead of 60 out there because it is a bit on the chilly side. Live look at the MoDOT camera at 20th and Range Line. Again, the camera doesn't tell you it's chilly by any means unless there's snow on the ground. Then it's pretty obvious by looking at the camera it must be chilly because there would be snow. Thankfully, no snow in our forecast right now and no snow on the ground. And if there was, I'd be slightly alarmed at this point. We're otherwise looking pretty good out there. As kids get on the bus this morning, though, they might need that light jacket or perhaps a long sleeve shirt or a sweater or something they can stuff in their backpack later because we'll be in the mid-50s by the time they head onto that bus. Mostly clear skies, light east breeze at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. And when that bus brings them back home, a little bit warmer, a little cloudier as well. Mostly cloudy skies this afternoon, mid-70s, and we hold on to that light easterly breeze at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. And then we head through the morning. We want to get you out the door, and this is what we're expecting as you head out the door. Mostly clear skies to start, and then we'll see increasing clouds slowly but surely from west to east start to build in. So now we're talking partly cloudy skies as we press through the morning, and we're making it up to about 70 by late morning. Here's the thing. We're going to start to get close to average in our temperatures. Then we're going to start to get above average in our temperatures. And we'll take a look at that full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. City officials listened to a plan to address homelessness in the Pittsburgh area. The Pittsburgh Community Health Center, in collaboration with other organizations, brought forward a plan on how to first understand homelessness in the area and then address it. According to CHC Representative Becky Gray, as of 2022, approximately 112 homeless reside in Pittsburgh. Gray says as the number continues to rise, so does the need to create and execute the plan to provide housing, shelters, and resources for those who live on the street. She also says the current system of getting homeless into a house is predominantly tenant-based housing vouchers. Seeking these vouchers, one issue is that by federal law, they are required to be sent out by mail. Gray also pointed out the need for an overnight shelter within Pittsburgh. By not having a shelter, those who live on the street continue to remain there and are less likely to get the help they need. There must also be a system to help those who have been homeless to get back into the routine of engaging and involved within the community. Gray then laid out the plan for what they want to see happen to improve the issue, starting with the operation of an overnight shelter, which has already had funds raised, but now needs to find a location. The overall goal is to make homelessness, quote, rare and brief. One solution noted that would have significant positive effects would be the construction of just 20 to 30 housing units and having continuous review and evaluation to prevent a relapse cycle. Overall, this meeting highlighted the need to provide the services and housing solutions that would greatly alleviate the issue of people on the street. You can view the entire meeting through a link posted on our website. Members of the public came out yesterday for a bridge renaming ceremony honoring a fallen Joplin police officer. The ceremony took place on the newly named Officer Jake Reed Memorial Bridge, located at 1200 East 20th Street. During the ceremony, Officer Reed's family received the Joplin Police Department Medal of Honor. Officer Reed was killed in the line of duty in March of last year. The Cherokee County Economic Development Corporation organized a job fair in Baxter Springs, Kansas. The fair was open to the community, but the first hour of the fair was dedicated to job seekers who have been recently laid off due to Yellow Freight and King Louie closings. The organizers wanted to showcase the job opportunities in Baxter Springs and surrounding areas.
There were several employees, 70 plus, who are set to lose their employment, and so that can't help but have an effect on the economy. So that's kind of the point of the job fair, is that we're hoping if they can continue their employment and not have that loss of income, then that will help our entire county and the whole region as a whole.
The fair ran from 1 to 4 yesterday afternoon at First Christian Church. School sports are back to an old issue, a referee shortage. In the region, every week, about 6 football games are being played on Thursdays or Saturdays. For that reason, KOAM's Fernanda Silva has a story.
In the very first game of the season, the Joplin High School football team couldn't play on the traditional Friday night. The reason? There were not enough officials to cover the game. While the Thursday night game didn't impact attendance, it affected the players.
Having to play on a Thursday, kind of changed that week. We had less preparation from the week before, and so being able to make those adjustments was probably the biggest issue.
According to the people that we spoke to, the referee shortage is an ongoing problem that the Joplin High School football game just brought to the spotlight. But other sports also have to deal with it. Libby Mann, Joplin High School junior, plays soccer among other sports. She says the game changes when there are 2 instead of 3 referees on the field.
You kind of get the idea that you have to be a little more grittier, I feel like, because the other girls are going to be more aggressive if they're not being looked at the whole time.
The concern about the referee shortage increases as the temperature decreases.
When you get a game that has to be postponed because of snow or something like that, you need to be careful on what nights you put it back on, you reschedule it on, because there may not be officials available that night.
So you might have 12 games one night and only have enough officials to cover 9 of those games.
The shortage could be related with the way coaches and supporters treat referees.
People have kind of gotten out of control at some of the contests, and who wants to go out and get yelled at for an hour and a half.
The official is everybody's favorite punching bag, which is not fair.
While affected by the shortage, Joplin High School is taking action to support the referees and umpires.
We work hard with our coaches on learning how to properly communicate. We need all of our fans to remember that this is education-based athletics. They're there to support our team and our students.
In Joplin, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
According to the Joplin Umpire Association, this has been a trend in the last 5 years. They're encouraging people who might be interested in being a referee or umpires to contact them. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Why Congress returned to Washington this week and ignited a new political fight. Plus, why the U.S. government wants to hear from Elon Musk about what's unfolded at X, the company formerly known as Twitter. And Chris Warner returns with another look at your Wednesday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from Riverview Park in Miami, Oklahoma. Topping Nation Watch this morning, some disturbing economic news. A new government report shows family incomes are falling. They dropped for the 3rd year in a row last year. The Census Bureau found the average family income in 2022 was $74,580. That's a 2.3% drop from 2021. Analysts say that rising prices are likely to blame. Inflation hit a 40-year high last summer. The air traffic controller shortage that has been blamed for several recent travel disruptions isn't going to end anytime soon. Not next year, not even the year after that. According to trade association Airlines for America, it's going to take at least 5 to 7 years. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says the U.S. is currently short about 3,000 controllers. Airlines for America calculates even if the Federal Aviation Administration hires everyone who goes through its academy, we're still going to be short for years. That one academy is the only way to get certified in the U.S., which the group says is a huge problem. It is suggesting allowing universities with air traffic controller programs to offer certification courses. Airlines are also planning to ask the FAA to cut back the number of flights at New York area airports. That region is where air traffic controller understaffing is at its worst. The U.S. government wants to hear directly from Elon Musk about what's unfolded at X, the company formerly known as Twitter. In a court filing by the Justice Department on behalf of the Federal Trade Commission, officials are asking Musk to testify in an expansive U.S. government probe of X. This follows mass layoffs and other decisions Musk made, which raise questions about X's ability to comply with the law and to protect users' privacy. It's the latest turn in an investigation that predates Musk's acquisition of X, but that has intensified due to Musk's own actions, according to a court filing. The court filing, dated Monday, cites depositions with multiple former X executives, including its former chief information security officer and former chief privacy officer. There is testimony that layoffs and resignations following Musk's $44 billion takeover may have hindered X from meeting its security obligations under a 2011 FTC consent agreement. The Pentagon is vowing to use offensive cyberspace operations to frustrate and disrupt foreign powers that threaten U.S. interests. On Tuesday, the Pentagon released the Department of Defense's new cyber strategy that warns of China's efforts to dominate cyberspace. The new document largely reinforces policies already in effect, including a commitment to actively counter U.S. adversaries in cyberspace rather than play defense. The strategy comes amid public warnings from U.S. officials that China will likely use its cyber capabilities against the U.S. if the military steps up in to help defend Taiwan against China. The Chinese government has denied the allegations and in turn accused the U.S. of conducting hacking operations in China. Congress returned to Washington this week and ignited a new political fight. House Republicans have formally launched an impeachment inquiry into President Biden, alleging a, quote, culture of corruption, end quote, between the president and his son's business dealings. Democrats are calling the move absurd and illegitimate. CBS News' Jared Hill has more from New York.
Bowing to pressure from his caucus, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy announced a formal impeachment inquiry into President Biden.
We are committed to getting the answers for the American public. Nothing more, nothing less.
McCarthy says the move gives 3 Republican-led House committees more power to investigate the president, though so far their ongoing probes have found no evidence that Mr. Biden profited from his son, Hunter Biden's business dealings.
This is an illegitimate impeachment inquiry. Period. Full stop. It's a waste of time and taxpayer dollars.
House Democrats jumped to the president's defense. A White House spokesman said in a statement, House Republicans have been investigating the president for more than 9 months, and they've turned up no evidence of wrongdoing.
This is a baby step following weeks of pressure from House conservatives to do more.
Some hard-right lawmakers had threatened to oust McCarthy as Speaker if he didn't endorse the impeachment inquiry, though some Republicans are pushing back.
I'm going to get a briefing later in the week on what evidence links President, at the time Vice President Joe Biden, to Hunter Biden's activities. I haven't seen that link yet, and so I'm reluctant to agree with Speaker McCarthy.
The political fight comes as the country faces a potential shutdown at the end of the month if Congress does not pass legislation to keep the government funded. Jared Hill, CBS News.
An impeachment inquiry doesn't necessarily mean that the House will ultimately take a vote on whether to impeach President Biden. And even if the narrow House Republican majority does vote in favor of impeachment, that's likely to go nowhere in the Democrat-controlled Senate. That's a look at some of today's top national stories. Now, here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got a pretty chilly start out there for us across the area. Most of us in the 50s. We even had some upper 40s earlier this morning. These fall-like temperatures are going to stick around just a little longer before we start to warm up to average. And then we're even looking at going above average heading into next week. We're going to have a complete look at your forecast here in just a few more minutes on the KOAM Morning News.
Talk about breaking a glass ceiling with some heavy lifting. That's exactly what a 13-year-old girl from Nebraska has done. She's a champion weightlifter, and she credits her parents for all her success. Jonah Gilmore has more.
Inside this gym,
it's hard.
There's some heavy lifting going on.
It doesn't come easy at first.
And for 13-year-old Chastity Del Balso, this is light work.
I got involved with my dad. He was in weightlifting meets and everything, and I just got influenced by it.
Chastity not only lifts, she competes in the USA Weightlifting Championship. The banners hanging on the wall inside Conqueror Weightlifting are proof of her abilities.
I participated in the Youth National Championship. I was 64 plus and 13 under, and I won first place.
It's the second time Chastity has competed on a national stage, taking the top honor. Dad and coach CJ Del Balso says it's an accomplishment he's been preparing her for since she was 4.
It's good to see those efforts pay off, and then her applying it on big stages, winning national championships and performing under pressure and performing well when she needs to do it most. So it's very exciting and rewarding as a coach.
He says it's a lot of fun watching his child enjoy a sport he loves.
I definitely have to push her at times, just like any young kid. Sometimes they don't feel like training, but she liked the results of the competition, so that was kind of the motivator is if you want to do these meets, you have to do the preparation.
That preparation has Chastity lifting 132 pounds in her snatch.
A snatch is where you go like this, and you're like this, and you go all the way down.
When it comes to her clean and jerk, she can lift 172 pounds.
There's a lot of people crowding you and all of that, and there's a lot of pressure on you. Also, when you win, it feels really great, but if you lose, you'll know next time what to do.
Deadlifts are not a part of the competition, but her personal best is 264.
She's currently the #1 ranked lifter in the United States for her age and weight category.
Chastity considers herself an all-around athlete and participates in school sports when she's not lifting. And even at school, her strength is on display.
When the teachers tell me to do something or pick this up, they're always like, "Oh my gosh, Chastity, you're so strong." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I am. I do lift."
She credits her mom and dad for getting her to this point.
Also just a blessing from God.
And hopes to inspire other kids her age, proving heavy is a mindset and all you have to do is dream big and lift.
You just have to get into it and you'll do it.
Some of Chastity's other sports include volleyball and throwing in track and field. Now here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
As we were talking about, we've got a relatively chilly day across the area for us, but we've got a pretty nice start to the day in terms of our sky conditions, mostly clear skies. We're going to see increasing clouds, and as we head into next week and later this week, increasing temperatures. We'll look at that full forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 6:24 on this Wednesday morning, getting ever so closer minute by minute to Friday across the area. We got a chilly start to our Wednesday. We got good looking skies though, mostly clear skies. Great view from the MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline and from the MoDOT camera US 60, Missouri 59 in Neosho. You can see those clear skies, but they will not stay clear for much longer, unfortunately. And we're looking pretty good from the KDOT camera US 69 and East 520th Avenue, of course, just south of Pittsburgh. Our camera at 7th and Rangeline also showing those mostly clear skies, and if you look just close enough, there's a handful of clouds out there, but not many. And we've cooled off a bit more. We're down to 53 in Joplin right now, so a pretty chilly start to the day. Looking at temperatures around the area, look at Fort Scott now back to being the cold spot at 47, 50 Pittsburgh and Iola, 51 Yates Center, Neodesha, Shea Parsons, 54 Miami, Monette, and 55 in Neosho and Anderson. As we get our morning started, again, initially we're starting with those mostly clear skies, but that's going to change. And we're going to start to see increasing cloud cover and start to go partly cloudy as we head through the morning and make it up to about 70 by 11 a.m. Then, as we head into the afternoon, afternoon, we're going to start to warm up. And we're also going to see an increase in clouds. We'll start to go mostly cloudy through the afternoon. Temperature's not looking too bad. And we go into the mid to upper 70s. We're going to hold on to those mostly cloudy skies as we go through the evening hours as well. Nice, cool, crisp evening out there. And another chilly night ahead of us, back down into the mid to upper 50s across the area. But as we mentioned, though, our temperatures are going to begin to increase. And this is what we're talking about. Up through Sunday, we're going to be below or at average. That's where we should be, mid-80s. So we're going to start going low 80s heading into the weekend with some pop-up showers possible Friday and Saturday. Then we get beyond Sunday and take a look at this. Those temperatures start to go above average, potentially significantly above average. Now, we're still several days away, but we're looking at the potential for temperatures reaching upper 80s and lower 90s across the area as we head about a week from now. But we also are looking at the possibility of increasing chances for thunderstorms Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday next week. So, of course, we're still several days away, keeping an eye on that, but we would love to see some additional rain chances because we absolutely need them. And the other good news is with these thunderstorm chances, once we get on the backside of that system, temperatures fall back to normal across the area. And of course, with the warming temperatures by day, it also means temperatures warming through the evening as well. We start going low, mid, upper 60s, and then we start to get close to 70 by next Thursday night. So enjoy this fall-like weather, because again, as we into that transition, we're in that roller coaster ride, and we're starting to come back up on the other side of it as we head into next week. That's a quick check of your forecast. Now we're going to send it over to Caitlin for a check of Health Watch.
Well, less time sitting can help prevent an increased risk of dementia in older adults. That's according to a study published in JAMA that found those 60 and older who spend 10 or more hours a day sitting are at a higher risk. Researchers say the average American is sedentary for 9.5 hours a day, and under 10 hours is not linked to an increase in dementia. And for those with trypanophobia, a fear of needles, there may one day be an alternate way to get the COVID-19 vaccine. A study from Oxford University gave a COVID vaccine orally to monkeys and found it produced the necessary antibodies to fight the virus. They say vaccines given orally or nasally can be more effective because it triggers a better response in the lungs, nose, and mouth. And not all dust is equal. French researchers found certain combinations of bacteria found in the dust in daycare centers increase the risk of respiratory symptoms among young children. Scientists are now hoping to find out what factors influence the bacterial makeup and how best to keep a healthy environment. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 6:30, Pittsburgh Community Schools gave the public an inside look at the newly renovated middle school.
And we've got a chilly start for us on this Wednesday. Otherwise, for now, mostly clear skies. Take a look at that forecast and get you out the door. Coming up.
Plus, a Parsons, Kansas organization hosted a barbecue to help fund some future adventures.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning, 4 states, and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. The time now is 6:31 a.m. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
I'm Chris Warner. So again, a chilly start out there across the area, and otherwise we've got those mostly clear skies. It's looking great. We are going to see some additional clouds as we start heading through the morning, and we're also going to see our temperatures, of course, rise just a little bit. Taking a live look, MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line in Joplin, and as you can see, traffic, at least northbound traffic, picking up. Nobody going south. Don't know what's going on down to the south, but nobody's going that way right now. Otherwise, clear skies and, again, chilly out there. So kids getting on the bus, they might need a light sweater, a light jacket, something they can take off later and stuff in their backpack, because they will not need it this afternoon. We're going to be talking mid-50s. Some of us may be a little cooler than that with mostly clear skies, light east breeze at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. As the bus brings them home, those clouds begin to increase across the area. We go mostly cloudy and mid-70s by 3 o'clock. Still holding on to a nice light east breeze at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. As we get our morning started, whether you're off to school, off to work, off back to bed, or maybe off to shop, or apparently not going south, whatever's going on off to the north, we will see the increasing clouds begin to build. We'll see mostly clear initially, partly cloudy skies start building through the morning. Some of us start to get mostly cloudy by late morning. Doesn't stop our temperatures from warming up. We're going to go about 70 by 11 this morning. We are going to, again, warm up. Our temperatures through the week are going to warm up. In fact, they're really going to start to warm up. We'll talk about that in the full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. Pittsburgh Community Schools gave the public an inside look at the newly renovated middle school. The renovations are centered around the original portion of the building constructed in 1921. The district added a modern science lab, an ADA-compliant elevator, and renovated the school's auditorium.
Well, there's a little back room in there. I would do that for wrestling. That would be a good place for wrestling.
The renovations were funded through a voter-approved bond. And you've heard of the expression, going to the dogs. Well, it looks like parts of Pittsburgh are going to the goats. The city of Pittsburgh hired about 36 goats to help clear away brush from the city's park this week. The four-legged lawnmowers come from Oscar Mike Goat Rental, a veteran-owned and operated vegetation management company. For park staff, the addition seemed like a logical solution.
I think Robert has estimated this area behind us would take a day and a half to 2 days, and then we've got several more areas that we'll move them to once they get this complete to our satisfaction. I think they reduce it down to about a 50 to 70% removal of the vegetation.
The goats were brought in to take down invasive weeds and hazardous vegetation while reducing the city's chemical footprint. Some Joplin service organizations teamed up yesterday to give blood. The Colonel St. Travis Hoover Composite Squadron co-sponsored the blood drive with the American Red Cross. The Air Patrol provides humanitarian assistance in addition to its emergency services mission.
To support the American Red Cross in hoping to elevate their critically low levels of blood supplies that exist right now.
The blood drive happened at the VFW Bingo Hall in Joplin. A Parsons, Kansas organization hosted a barbecue to help fund some future adventures. The Dream Advocacy Group provides resources and experiences for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Some of those experiences come in the form of group trips. Yesterday's event raised money for those trips.
Dream Advocacy to me is the opportunity to get our advocacy group name out there and support other people who cannot stand up for their disability rights.
In addition to the barbecue, there was also a beanbag toss. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Why the FBI is helping MGM Resorts investigate what appears to be a widespread cybersecurity attack.
And we've got that chilly start to the morning across the area. The fall-like weather is here, but it won't last much longer. We'll take a look at your full forecast a little later. But first, we're going to take another live look from Riverview Park in Miami.
In Consumer Watch this morning, the Labor Department's Consumer Price Index for August comes out Wednesday morning. Many economists expect the data will show inflation in the U.S. increased last month. And of course, the Federal Reserve will be keeping close watch and deciding whether another interest rate hike will be coming soon. John Loring reports.
The U.S. economy is facing a couple of major hurdles, including another possible shutdown of the federal government next month.
Both sides, both Republicans and Democrats, have put us in this place where we have extraordinarily high inflation, where we're going to add $18.8 trillion to the debt in the next 10 years.
The United Auto Workers Union could announce a strike on Friday.
Since inflation is off the chart, it's not beneficial to me to be working at Ford, making half what other people are making or not receiving the benefits that they're making.
And oil prices, which affect the cost of gas prices, are forecast to stay up through the end of the year. However,
people are out there with a lot discretionary consumer spending, travel, hotels, restaurants, all of that is booming. So people are acting as if they're in good shape financially, and yet they say, wow, This is a disastrous economy.
The Federal Reserve will announce whether or not another interest rate hike is on the way during their meeting next week. According to the CME Group's FedWatch tool, financial markets believe there's more than a 90% chance the Fed will vote to hold interest rates steady. But only about half feel the same about another pause in November. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
President Joe Biden is drawing bipartisan criticism about the economy. According to a CNN poll, close to 25% of Democratic voters say the U.S. economy has suffered under the Biden White House. 91% of Republican voters feel the same way. And the wait is over. Apple has unveiled its new iPhone 15, which comes in 5 colors or 4 colors for the Pro model. The device features a better camera and a USB-C charging port. The tech giant has decided not to raise the price on its newest iPhones, which hits store shelves September 22nd. Apple also released its new watches, which now have a double tap feature that allows users to answer calls or pause music with one hand. And new census data shows troubling news. Child poverty in the U.S. more than doubled last year at 12.4%, up from 5.2% the year before. That's the largest change since the agency began tracking the data 14 years ago, and it comes after the COVID-era expanded child tax credit expired. Two U.S. snack food giants are merging in a deal worth over $5 billion. J.M. Smucker, known for its jellies, is buying Hostess, maker of Twinkies, Ho-Hos, and Ding Dongs. In a statement, the CEO of Hostess said the deal is, quote, the right partnership to accelerate growth and create meaningful value for consumers, customers, and shareholders. The FBI is helping MGM Resorts investigate what appears to be a widespread cybersecurity attack. Brett Forrest has the details.
This has to be costing MGM millions of dollars an hour.
On Sunday, systems at MGM Resorts properties began shutting down, including slot machines, company email, the MGM website, and more.
It just, throughout the day, got worse and worse and worse until we had no access at the end of the day.
An MGM employee says the outage is supposedly starting about 5 a.m. Sunday morning. We agreed to grant them anonymity to speak freely.
More and more of the people that were working that day just lost access to like everything. Like just throughout the day, it was like, oh, phone lines are down. Okay, scheduling's down. Okay, now workday is down. Now everything is down.
In a statement, MGM Resorts simply called it a cybersecurity issue affecting some of their systems, saying they alerted law enforcement and began proactively shutting down systems to protect data.
It's like with any setup, the weakest link in the system can break it down. It could be social media. All it takes is one employee to click on a link.
Experts like Mac Jackson say MGM has a top cybersecurity team, but this incident exposes continued vulnerabilities.
And training and education for all of our employees, because this is something that will continue as technology gets better, faster, more sophisticated. The hackers will find these ways as well.
Lon Augustenborg is a former CIA operative who now runs a cybersecurity firm. Like the 2019 MGM hack that leaked personal details of over 100 million people, he says this incident could have been in the making for months or longer.
You also time it at the time when it hurts the most. Is it because it's the first day of the NFL season? Is it because of the massive amount of bets that are going on, or people on vacation right after Labor Day?
MGM Resorts officials say their systems are operational after the cybersecurity issue. It's not clear if any consumer data was compromised. Cybersecurity experts recommend customers change all their passwords and monitor their credit cards. And that's it for Consumer Watch. Now let's take it over to Chris Warner for another look at your forecast.
Yeah, we got a pretty chilly start out there, but looking good. Take a look at our camera from 7th and Range Line. We've got mostly clear skies out there, and same from the MoDOT camera at 20th and Range Line, looking back to the south. And as kids get on the bus this morning, they're going to need a light jacket, light sweater, something they can just stuff in their bag later. It's going to be a little bit on the chilly side, mid-50s at 7 a.m., east breeze 5 to 10, mostly clear skies. However, as our temperatures increase, so does the cloud cover. We're going to transition to mostly cloudy skies by this afternoon, mid-70s, east breeze at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. And as we get our morning started, we're looking pretty darn good initially, and again, increasing cloud cover, though. Mostly clear to start. Partly cloudy skies, even some mostly cloudy skies for some of us by late morning, and temperatures right around 70 by 11 a.m. Our temperatures will continue to rise as we head through the week. We'll take a look at that full forecast here in just a moment. It's also just about time to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries. Those are coming up after the break. But first, we're going to check in with the fine folks in New York City and see what's happening on CBS Mornings.
Hello to you, I'm Gail King. Coming right up on CBS Mornings, two-time Academy Award winner Sean Penn will be live with us. Talk about the premiere of his documentary on Ukraine's fight against Russia. That's coming right up on CBS Mornings.
Time for some Wednesday birthdays here in the 4 states, and we're going to begin in Peculiar, Missouri, up close to Kansas City, with Tatum Schreppel celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday, Tatum.
And over in Thayer, Kansas, happy 39th birthday to Dennis Pack.
And we have Katie Slichting celebrating birthday number 40 in Jasper with love from your family. Happy birthday.
And happy 50th birthday to Jason Bond over in Chanute.
And we've got Laura Walsh celebrating birthday number 66 in Chanute as well. And she's the lady in the yellow shirt.
A lot of birthdays over in Chanute. Connie Turner turns 68 today.
And over in Fort Scott, Patty Moen celebrating birthday number 69. Great throwback picture there. It says, happy birthday, Mama. We love you more.
Oh, and happy 70th birthday to Cindy Bugney over in Frontenac. Look at that beautiful family.
And a little further to the south in Columbus, Marie Romick celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday, Marie.
And we have a big anniversary. It is Shirley and Daryl Thompson's 50th anniversary. They're over in Crestline, Kansas. Congratulations, you two, and happy anniversary.
All right, another nice list to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries with. Of course, we want to continue to celebrate with you. Caitlin, what do they need to do to help us out?
Well, all you gotta do is submit your birthdays and anniversaries to birthdays@KOAMnewsnow.com. Be sure to include pictures and any messages you want us to read aloud to give you or your loved ones a shout out.
Absolutely, and we're going to take a look at that forecast now. Live look, MoDOT camera, 20th and range line in Joplin. We got those mostly clear skies, chilly start. Mostly clear also in Neosho from the MoDOT camera there at US 60, Missouri 59, and we're going to head north up into Kansas, Crawford County. KDOT camera rather at 69 East 520th Avenue just south of Pittsburgh. Also looking great. Take a look at those clear skies out there because unfortunately they're not expected to last. We are chilly as well. 53 in Joplin out there and around the region. Boy, some just downright cool temperatures. Look at Fort Scott, 47, still the cold spot out there. 49 now in Iola, 50 in Pittsburgh, 52, Chanute, Chetopa, 54, Miami, Monette. We're sitting at 50 over in Stockton. As we get our morning started, as we mentioned, we're going to have the clouds increasing, partly cloudy skies through the early morning or to the late morning hours, right around 70. Some of us, though, as the clouds move from west to east, will go mostly cloudy a little earlier. We all get in on mostly cloudy skies as we head into the afternoon, but that doesn't stop our temperatures from being pretty darn decent out there as we're going to go mid-upper 70s across the region. Then we head into this evening. Those mostly cloudy skies do continue with us. We have a cool evening, nice one out there, and then we're chilly again tonight. Lows back into the mid to upper 50s across the region. However, this fall-like pattern is going to stop. We're in that roller coaster ride. We talked about it last week, too, as we make the transition from summer to fall over the next few weeks. You know how it goes here. We're going to go up, we're going to go down. We're going to go up, we're going to go down. Then eventually we'll just stay down. The ride will stop for a few months, and we're getting ready to climb back up on this roller coaster ride of ours. We're going to go into the low 80s. Heading into the weekend, 85 is right around where we should be for this time of year. Pop-up showers Friday, Saturday. Then we head into next week, and temperatures may even go above average, potentially well above average, as they continue to climb into the upper 80s and maybe even the low 90s by next Thursday. As we mentioned, we're still a week away from any of this, so we'll keep an eye on the trends, but we are looking to trend considerably warmer. However, thanks to this increase in temperatures, we are looking to trend upward in rain chances as well, with pop-up thunderstorm chances Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And we also will start to go back down a little bit on the flip side of this roller coaster next week. Temperatures returning back to normal by next Friday. And of course, with warmer daytime temperatures come warmer overnight lows. We start climbing up low, mid 60s, upper 60s to right around 70 by next week. Let's check your forecast. Coming up when the KOAM Morning News makes the switch to Fox 14 at 7 a.m. Tell you about one woman traveling across the country, all because she wanted to see her little sister, perhaps for a final time. Tell you why the sister's goodbye is now going viral on social media.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. City officials listen to a plan to address homelessness in the Pittsburgh area. The Pittsburgh Community Health Center, in collaboration with other organizations, brought forward a plan on how to first understand homelessness in the area and then address it. According to CHD Representative Becky Gray, as of 2022, approximately 112 homeless reside in Pittsburgh. Gray says as the number continues to rise, so does the need to create and execute the plan to provide housing shelters and resources for those who live on the street. She also says the current system of getting homeless into a house is predominantly tenant-based housing vouchers. Members of the public came out yesterday for a bridge renaming ceremony honoring a fallen Joplin police officer. The ceremony took place on the newly named Officer Jake Reed Memorial Bridge, located at 1200 East 20th Street. During the ceremony, Officer Reed's family received the Joplin Police Department Medal of Honor. Officer Reed was killed in the line of duty in March of last year. The Cherokee County Economic Development Corporation organized a job fair in Baxter Springs. The fair was open to the community, but the first hour of the fair was dedicated to job seekers who have been recently laid off due to Yellow Freight and King Louie closings. The organizers wanted to showcase the job opportunities in Baxter Springs and surrounding areas. The fair ran from 1 to 4 yesterday afternoon at First Christian Church. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
And a quick recap of that forecast as you head out the door. We'll see increasing clouds, mostly cloudy this afternoon, warm, mid to upper 70s. We're going to stay mostly cloudy as we head into the evening and overnight hours. We're going to be chilly again, lows back mid to upper 50s. However, the fall-like trend ends. We start warming up low, mid, even upper 80s by next week. Overnight lows increasing as well into the low to mid 60s with some shower chances for us on Friday and Saturday.
And coming up today at noon, we're making homemade biscuits and gravy in the Mr. Food Test kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. Graham Norton is an award-winning comedian and best-selling author. Coming up on CBS Mornings, he discusses his latest novel that he says is both the funniest and darkest he's written yet.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, a staple of the Little Rock, Arkansas community makes its return. It used to be a restaurant, and now it's a food truck.
Plus, we've got Julie Smith and Valerie Stone joining us in studio to talk about open enrollment for Medicare. That's going to wrap it up for us for now. We had so much fun doing this with you that I tell you what, we will be back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. just for you.
That we will. And again, we'll see you today at noon.